Are you ready to go into community forklift? Let's go see what salvage stuff we can find today. I'm so excited.
And I didn't even know that I was just moments away from finding this Art Deco dresser that I'd seen on their website, but totally forgot that it was there.
So I'm not really looking for anything in particular. I just like to come into these places because I like to see if there's something that grabs my attention. Like you come in and you see that rare thing and you're like, oh my God, I have to have it.
And there it was, this dresser that I saw on their website. It was $275, and I don't ever pay that much for a dresser, but I was so intrigued by this, right? Like it had these vintage knobs, it had a little bit of damage. I knew it could be cleaned up, but for $275, I was not interested. But I was standing over looking at these beautiful teacups, and one of the managers came over and started chatting with me, and I said, hey, can we go look at this dresser?
Guess what? The manager is going to allow me to buy this dresser for $175.
But the question was it going to fit in my Honda CR-V?
Are you sure it's going to fit? Oh, let it just slide in. Oh my gosh.
And that's why I love carrying around a screenshot of my trunk with all the dimensions. But even so, I still had doubt that it was going to fit. So when it slid in, I was so excited.
We got it! We got it! There's the dresser. And it fit in my CR-V. Oh, now we just have to refinish that baby. But it's mine! And I got it for a discount. Woo! Woo! Thank you, Community Forklift. Stay tuned to see what it looks like when I'm done.
Now, it only took me about 4 months to get to this point, so I'm excited it didn't take 2 to 3 years like my other dresser makeovers. But when you look closely, you can see that there was definitely a lot of scratching in that old finish. It had to be refinished with some gouges, and so stripping and restaining was the best option for this. But there was something that I didn't notice. Some of this metal tubing here, as you know, the decorative metal parts of this Art Deco dresser, if you look at the middle dressers to the left, they're missing some of the metal tubing, the brass tubing, and I didn't notice it until I started taking all the drawers out, and I'm like, wait a minute, did I drop it going from the garage into the shed? And I didn't. So this is what it was supposed to look like. This is the track that's nailed in, and then over here is the metal tubing that attaches to it. I can't find this on Etsy anywhere. So keep that in mind when you are buying vintage dressers. The hardware, the decorative parts, you're not going to easily be able to find this. So be very careful, be very gentle when you're taking this off. I decided to leave this metal edging, this brass edging here. I didn't want to mess with this. Knowing that I couldn't find a replacement, I was not going to take that off and mess it up. And I am notorious for misplacing hardware, so I always put it in a plastic bag, as well as anything I'm taking off, like this brass edging. All of it went into the bag. And I started spraying it down with QCS. This is the finish stripper that I use whenever I'm working. It's non-toxic. I can work indoors. I don't have to go outdoors to do this. And you'll notice that I left the tracks there, the metal tracks, so that I could later attach the brass tubing to it. And I was like, Serena, why are you leaving this on? It makes no sense. You're not going to be able to sand around that. So I took those off with the little itty bitty nails and put those in the bag as well. So keep all of that stuff together because later you're not going to be able to find it anywhere on Etsy. So when I'm stripping furniture, I like to do 2 or 3 rounds of the finish remover. You're not going to remove everything in one go. So I will put that on there, do something else, let it sit for about 15, 20 minutes, and then come back and start removing it with several things. I'm going to use a 6-inch putty knife, and I'm also going to use a bucket with maybe, I don't know, a trash bag in it, because you're going to be scraping this off. You see it's bubbling up there. That is the existing layers that have to come off, and it's not going to come off in one go. And the amount of preparation you take preparing this for the new stain, the better results you're going to get. So here's what I like to do. I like to put it on there for about 15, 20 minutes, let it work. I'm going to use an old bucket with a trash bag in there. I'm going to use a 6-inch putty knife, and I'm going to just offload it into the bucket. This is very messy. It's so messy. So you might want to go to the Dollar Tree, get one of those really cheap plastic tablecloths, put it underneath to catch anything that falls on the floor. Okay, don't ruin your floors. And then once you remove that first layer, add another coat of the finish remover, let it work, and then keep going back. And you'll start to notice whether you're getting to the end of it, because the first coat is going to be really, really gunky like this. And by the time you've gone through it, maybe 2, 3, sometimes 4 times, it starts to become a little more watery and less gunky. And that's when you know it's easy to wipe this down and prepare for your sanding. And this is where the beauty happens, because when you strip something, the wood is still going to be stained. You have to get all of that off, even the stain of the stain, in order to get that beauty of the new finish to come through, whatever new stain you're going to be using. I'm going in the direction of the grain of the wood. This grain is going up and down, and that's the direction I'm going. This grain here on the side is diagonal, so I'm going to go in that direction as well. And I'm speeding it up here, but you're never going to want to go this fast. You'll get something on your wood called pigtails, and those are the little swirly lines that sometimes you don't see them until you put stain on your wood. So let me share with you how I like to do my sanding when I'm working on dressers like this. First of all, I'm using an orbital sander in order to do one of 2 things. Now, you've already seen me do the stripping with the finish remover. You can do that, but let's say you don't have finish remover and you just want to jump into this with an orbital sander. You can do that, and in that case, you're going to want to start with probably about an 80, maybe even depending on what you're removing, maybe even a 60 grit sandpaper, but an 80 would remove all of this. Would it be more work? Could be. But I like to use the finish remover in order to get all of the heavy duty lifting of the previous existing finish. And then this sander will come in and remove the last bits. And when I do that, I'm only using about a 180 grit sandpaper with the orbital sander. And you can do the next 220, which is a finer grain of sandpaper, with the orbital sander as well. But here's the thing. Your final sanding should be by hand, 220 grit. You don't want to go any smoother than 220. You also want to make sure that you're doing it by hand. So I'm doing 180 here, but you definitely want to follow that up with a 220 by hand. And again, make sure you're going in the direction of the grain. And I also wiped all the dust and vacuumed the dust, because this is mahogany veneer. And so that dust would settle into that grain, and we didn't want that. Now I'm using a sanding sealer here, and I kind of think of it like a primer, sort of like a foundation before a woman puts makeup on her face, especially if there's a lot of pores, right? It just kind of fills the pores and gives this wood a good foundation to accept stain. And once it dries, you just sand it lightly with 220 grit sandpaper in the direction of the grain, and that will smooth everything out. The point is not to get back to the bare wood, so we're not aggressively sanding. We're just kind of knocking down the sanding sealer so that when we're ready to apply the stain next, it will accept the stain and it'll be a nice even coat. Now I'm using an oil-based stain here. I'm using mahogany, actually, since this is a mahogany veneer, but you could use a water-based. I don't particularly care for the water-based, but I think each of them have their pros and cons. I'm using an oil base for this project for the first reason because I already had some on hand and I didn't have to go and buy any. But the second reason is because when you're using an oil-based stain, it gives you plenty of time to apply it and then wipe it off, and it's still wet. It's not drying on you. And that means you're not going to get the lap marks. You're not going to be in this rush to hurry up and just get it all on here quickly. And so it's going to give you better results. So here's the process that I used. Typically, I use like just the regular lint-free cloths to apply this, but for this project, I actually used the application sponges, and I really like them. So I used one to apply it, and then I tried to use a clean one, or as clean of a sponge as I could, to wipe off the excess. And I think that I got pretty good results. I think next time I need to buy a larger pack, because after an entire project, sometimes it feels like you're just reapplying stain when you're trying to wipe it off. Another thing though, when you're using oil-based stain, make sure all those sponges, rags, towels, make sure you are laying those out thoroughly to dry, because they can spontaneously combust. That's the beauty of using water-based, because water-based, you can just throw that in the trash. All right, so moving on to the top coat. I love General Finishes high performance top coat in a water base. If you are applying that to an oil-based stain, you have to let that stain like completely dry before you do a water base. Now you'll notice here I'm sliding it very carefully with a synthetic brush over the sides, over the edges, and then working it out. I'm not overworking each section. It will be milky, but it will dry clear. And once that coat is dry, then I come back, sand it with maybe about a 320 grit sandpaper, very lightly, and then I do another coat. And then I let that dry, sand it, and come back with another coat. So I usually do about 3 coats on my dresser with this water-based top coat. So this is what it looked like before, and then the after was absolutely amazing, but I almost feel like you can't fully appreciate it until you look a little bit closer, because this finish was cracked, it was dry, it was hard, it was just not, well, it wasn't pretty. But look at the after. This is that amazing mahogany veneer that I was able to bring back to life. So think about your projects, things that your grandmother may have left you, your auntie, a family heirloom, or something that's just, it's invaluable, but it's a part of your family. Oh, for the record, I do wish that I had not cracked one of these knobs, and I wish that I could find the gold edging. That's okay. This is going into my son's room. It's such a stunning dresser, and it's good quality that I have a feeling he's going to have this for the rest of his life. And who knows, maybe he'll pass this down to his kids, and he can tell the story, and maybe if YouTube is still around, he can be like, hey, guess what? Your grandmother refinished this, and now it's yours. But this is the story that I think stripping and restaining can provide for your family, whether it's something that's valuable or invaluable, or whether it's something that you just found at the thrift store and it had some scratches and some surface imperfections, and now you know how to bring it back to life. We're not necessarily painting it. I don't believe that paint should go on everything. I think there's a place for it. But when you've got a great piece of furniture like this, don't put paint on it. Take the time and effort to strip this down, sand it, restain it. There is so much beautiful furniture out here that you can get that already exists. You don't have to go and get something fresh off the assembly line, because guess what? It's going to be garbage. This stuff is going to last you. It's going to last probably a lifetime, many generations. And be sure to go to the blog post, because I have all of the materials list there with step-by-step instructions of what I did, plus some other tips on how to refinish wood furniture. And also, if you have not seen my other furniture makeover that I did where I stripped this federal dresser, you got to go watch that, because there's some gems in there too, especially how to get your vintage hardware really, really shiny. So don't miss that. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think about this furniture makeover? Do you love it? I will see you next video.